Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick. This is MSFS Flight Plans. Just as I said in that last video, we are going to take the return leg from Las Vegas back to Bullhead, which is where we departed from coming up to Las Vegas last time. Last time we were showcasing Say Intentions, the AI-based ATC, which I have used a lot more of this week. I'm going to give you some more input and feedback about that if you're trying to figure out which route you want to go, if you're wanting to get into air traffic control. This time we're going to be talking to real people with Pilot Edge. And at this point, I've got a good amount of experience with both of them, but with Pilot Edge, I've only flown in and out of a couple of Class Bravos. Vegas is a Class Bravo. I'm still very intimidated. I'm still probably going to screw things up. I can handle the Class Charlies okay. Class Deltas are just a breeze getting in and out of those. But these are going to be busier. There's going to be a lot going on here, so I'm probably going to screw a few things up. And, you know, the thing about YouTube, I've already pulled everything off this plane, so we're good to get in. We'll just walk around and look at it as I share a little slice of life story. The problem with YouTube and all of social media is that I can record 30 videos waiting to find the perfect execution and then post that one like most people do to make it look like I'm just a genius and brilliant at what I'm doing. But what stinks about that is it always makes everybody watching those feel kind of crappy because it's like, well, why is everyone else so good at this and I'm not? Well, depending on how this goes, you may see me floundering quite a bit, and I just want to have evidence of that so someday I can look back on this video and go, okay, I sucked for a while too. You get better at things over time, and it's okay. All right, here we are back in the 408 again, by the way, and this thing is just so easy to start. I feel like we're cheating. Like there should be more to do. I followed the checklist just right, and it says just get this on. Let's get this configured right, and it's good to go. Those are good. All right, we'll fire this up, and I've got a little surprise for you guys, too. Get these to stop banging and clanging in our ears. Left starter going. We need to get the inner turbine temperature spooled up a little bit, which is now over here. So once that gets going, we'll introduce some fuel. Got a little surprise for you guys. Check this out. I finally had the brilliant idea, I don't know why it took me so long to do it, because people have been doing it for a very long time, of just mirroring my iPad. Because I really wanted to show you guys for flight and use it during our flights, but NVIDIA won't record it. As I mentioned in that last video, there's some kind of copyright protection or something on there, so it stops recording after a few minutes, which just stinks because if it's more than a few minutes, we can't post it. Now we've got this, and not only that, we're going to be able to use this so you can see what I'm writing on this thing. We can get our instructions, and I've also got our Navigraph maps in here. We already got our airport pulled up, which is really cool. All right, is that one ready to go? I think it is. So let's give it full power, and then we'll turn the starter off, generator on, bleed air on, get the right one going. All right, I hear you. So while that's going on, let's go ahead and get our... Now I'm going to need to remember I need to move this with my fingers over here. So our ATIS right up here in the top left corner, 132.4. After we get the weather situation, we will go ahead and figure out which runway they're probably going to bring us off of, and I think it's going to be one of these 19ers up here, which will be fantastic, because we're already right here and we won't get this massively long taxi instruction. So we got that for Las Vegas, and then I put our other airport back in here, and while I'm just sitting here thinking about it, gosh, I keep wanting to just click on that, but I can't because I've got it in my hand. Let's think about where we want to park so we can tell these guys. All right, general aviation parking, that's real easy. Okay, that's where we're coming into. All right, and that one's ready to go. Come on, going up there. Starter off, generator on, bleed air on, feather it, and I probably should have had the navigational lights and the beacon on, which I think are just one and the same in this plane. Okay, so let's get back to... I'm just going to keep clicking on that. Let's get back to that ATIS. 132.4. Let's see what we got going on out here. So we'll go on COM 2 with that. 132. Whoop, whoop, whoop. 0.4. Now, something else we could do before we even looked at the ATIS is we can look at the METAR now. 0.40. 132.4. So let's just take a look at that real quick. So we'll back out of this and go back into ForeFlight. So if I just click, what I'm going to do is just tap on KLAS, and it'll bring up some information about it, which is very handy, including the ATIS, clearance delivery, who we will talk to this time. We'll wind up talking to one of these grounds, and you can see they have directionally which one you'd wind up tuning in, so we'll do that. And then which tower we will use based on which runway they give to us, which is great. But I want to see what the weather looks like, so we'll tap that real quick. In that green area there is our METAR report, and if you've never seen one of those, ForeFlight does a real nice job of just telling you what it means. But if you want to impress your friends as far as how to decipher that... Oh, I can point to it now. This is great. Okay, so KLAS obviously is our airport. This is the day of the month, which is 04. which would actually be, this is in Zulu time, so it might already be advanced by a day, and then the time would be 0056 Zulu. This is our wind direction from 220, so let's bring this over so we can look at it while we're reading that. Here's a little nav map. And I need to keep it this size, because I'm going to put it on the other screen. We're done. Winds from 220 at 16, gusting to 21 knots. Wow. 7 miles visibility. Oh, DU. So we got some dust, and then we got scattered clouds at 25,000 feet, so that's not going to be a problem. And then here is our dew point and our outside temperature, which is 40 degrees Celsius, and dew point is -10, so I don't think we got any fog to worry about. Golly, that is a humongous spread. And our altimeter setting is going to be 2... Let me get closer to that. I think that's 28.83, which is low. Let me blow it up on my... 29.83. Okay, that makes more sense. That would be really low. So we go ahead and put that in, but we're going to listen to the ATIS and just get it straight from the horse's mouth, and then we'll see which runway they give us. We may need to redraw this flight plan a little bit, because if they don't give us a 19er, we're going to have to do some different directions here before I program that into the GPS. So let's go ahead and get that ATIS on and see what they have to say. We'll just leave this up here for now. All right, switch that to the active and unmute it.
Altimeter 2983. Arriving
right on the money,
2983. 19er right. 26 left. Departing runways 19er left, 19er right,
yes.
26 right. Visual
We're right there.
and use VFR departures, contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Romeo.
Romeo, all right. I'm just going to write that right up there at the top.
Harry Reid International Airport. ATIS information, Romeo. 0056 Zulu.
Okay, so this time we are going to... I'm just going to keep doing it. Going to keep doing it. It's going to take me a while to untrain myself from that. So we'll go back to info here, which I'll point at with my pointer and then use my finger to activate it. So this time we do have to talk to clearance delivery. As I mentioned in that last video, smaller airports, you would usually just talk to ground. We're going to get the same information from clearance delivery, and particularly clearance. So 118.0, clearance, for all you fans of airplane. 118.0, so that one's already pretty close. Let's just switch that back up to the top, bring that back over here, bada boom, bada bing. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and make that the active. We'll figure out if they'll tell us which runway, which they probably will, then we'll know which ground frequency to talk to. 118.0. Okay, so I'm going to make my initial call, tell them where we're going, what we're planning on doing.
Los Angeles clearance delivery, Skyhawk 319er Mike Echo.
So these are real people, all the way around in real time, which is cool. Is he going to respond, though?
Tower 319 Mike Echo, Los Angeles clearance, go ahead.
Now you'll notice that they have one controller working a lot of different airports.
Skyhawk 172.
So if you hear any mistakes, I can be very, very forgiving. The nice thing about a real person versus AI is they recognize when they make a mistake. If you tell them, they'll fix their mistake. Not the case with AI. And I have a lot more feedback about the AI stuff once we get to that.
Airspace. After departure, fly heading 250 to shoreline. Then make a left turn to exit Bravo airspace. Maintain VFR 2500. Departure frequency 134.9er. Squawk 2417.
Now he's going to give her that huge readback, and you can hear we're getting a heck of a lot more information than we were getting at that little delta last time.
If you can hear me, I just crashed.
Awesome. Gotta love the sim. Okay. Alright, so we're going to make our call now. Let her know what we're doing, and we're probably going to get just as much information from her, which I'm going to try my best to write down. This might be my first screw-up of the night. Let's see if I can get it all down. But the nice thing about a human is they'll just tell you what you need to know again. Las Vegas clearance, Cessna 200 Papa Foxtrot with Romeo. VFR to Bullhead, aircraft type 408. Altitude request 7,500, and flight following, please.
Papa Foxtrot, Las Vegas clearance. You said flight following to Bullhead?
Affirmative. 0 Papa Foxtrot.
20 Bravo Fox, and what's the aircraft type?
Cessna 408.
Roger, stand by.
Can you imagine just having to jump around at 10 different airports every time you get a call? I need to take them out to lunch from wherever they are. Make a donation from the sim community. I'm looking down like this because I'm looking at my iPad, which is on my lap.
For 20 Papa Foxtrot, after departure, flight heading 175. Maintain VFR at below 7,000 till advised. Departure frequency 125.47. Squawk 6376.
After departure, fly heading 175, VFR at or below 7,000. Departure frequency 125.47, squawk 6376. And do you have a sense of whether that will be 19er right or left?
Typically one on a right, all the GA parking's on the far west side.
That's perfect. Thank you. 0 Papa Foxtrot. Okay. Whew. I didn't screw it up. All right. So I'm starting off with an F+. Okay, so let's get all this stuff programmed in here. So we need to remember that we're going to fly a heading of 175. So I'm going to go ahead and just bug that now, just so we can get to it with a heading hold, and then we'll kind of adjust the autopilot, see how close we can get to that. I need to get better glasses for starters. All right, so we're just going to twist this all the way around. One. So we can just go ahead and nail it once we get up there, and we'll do a heading hold, and then kind of try to adjust our autopilot so we can just GPS it after that if we're in the general vicinity. Okay, so let's get our transponder set. That's ident. Okay, it's already on altimeter mode, or the altitude mode. Nope. Okay, transponder. I'm struggling to see that code. There we go. That's the right one to hit. 6376. 6376. 6376. Okay, we got it. So we're going to tune to ground next, and then we are going to get over to tower once we're at the end of the runway. I got yelled at the other night because I switched off of ground after they gave me the taxiway instructions. Apparently you're not supposed to do that. So again, lesson learned. The guy got back on, and he was like, I've been trying to reach out to you on ground. And I was just sitting there on the tower frequency until I got to the runway. Okay, so let's just think about this real quick. So I don't know how far they're going to fly us, but let's just go ahead and set this for a heading of, what did we say? 175 once we come out of there, and just see if we can fly that straight out of their airspace, because again, the thing is, they want to try to get us out of their airspace as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to drag this over here, and you can see the heading that we're going to be traveling right down here, so I'm going to adjust that until it's 175. If I can find it. 166. Ooh, that's going to be right on that line, I bet. Let's see what that looks like. 174. Okay, we'll be within it. So there may be a reason why she said that, and we'll take a look here in just a second. Nope, my rationale was not correct, but we'll take a look here. 175. Okay. So once we get up, we're going to go ahead and do a heading hold. That should get us generally in that vicinity, but we don't want to do that until we get over here, which is now going to be different because I've changed that. 173. 175. All right. We won't line up on it unless I nail it right at that little point right there, but we'll see. We'll at least be flying right heading once we get at the end of the runway. So let's see what she's probably trying to do here and just kind of think through this. So we can see here that this sector of the Bravo is going to go from 0 to 10,000 feet. So we'll definitely still be in it there. This is 4,000. We'll definitely still be in it there. Unless we're under 4,000, which we certainly will not be. And this thing can climb like a beast. So we'll go to like 2,000 feet a minute. And then what is this section over here? So this is 5,000. We'll still be in it there. And we really need to just drag that out, because until she tells us to do something different or we're out of their airspace, we're going to be doing what they tell us to do. Here we'll be at 7,000. So I'm going to set this for like 6,800 so that right when we cross over this point, I'll put a little marker right there. That'll be when we'll know that we're out of the airspace. Boink. Okay, so that's when we're going to cross out of it. After that, as long as we stay below 7,000, we'll be pretty good. Although we got these mountains coming up here. Shoot, let's just... Man, we got to get over there. So All right, so here's what we're going to do. Once we get to this, we're going to head over to this sector, which is at 8,000.
Memory clearance, Sierra 23, Sierra Bravo at the southwest ramp.
And we'll be out of their airspace here, but you can see down at the bottom here, we've got to clear some mountains right around there. And someone left a comment on my last video and said, you know, you don't need to fly 1,000 feet over those mountains. And I was like, yeah, you're right, because if there's an engine out problem, you're going to be in trouble. So we're going to try to get up to 7,500, which here you can see the ground is at 3. So yeah, that's going to give us like 4,000 or so feet. So that'll be fine. 7,500 will be good, but we've got to get out of this section right here and into this one. So we'll just come back to this in a little bit.
Maintain 3,000.
But for now, we can get off of clearance and go on to the ground frequency. So let's get back to that.
Squawk 2577.
Las Vegas ground. So east of runway, we're not going to be on that side. West of runway,
280 radar vectors to Julian. Climb
19er right. So this is going to be us. That second one down. 121.9.
119.6.
This is what I'm looking at right here. So we are west of runway 19er. Let's just take a look at that to confirm that. There's 19er right. Look how easy this taxi is going to be.
Looks like 28 right.
So again, the plan for what they're probably going to tell us, probably Hotel Foxtrot. Bam, right there. That's probably what they're going to tell us to do, which will be nice and easy. So one thing while I'm here just to mention that has been a little bit of a frustration with the AI stuff, no matter where I am in the airport, they will taxi me as far as possible, no matter what the winds are or anything. So the last time I was here with the AI stuff, I was parked here. They taxied me to 26 left, and the winds were like this, which was just crazy. But what's really cool about that, actually, if you've not done it before, you can get on there and say, can you give me a progressive taxi, which you can also get in real life, which they'll kind of chunk it up for you so they're not saying, 15 different letters at once. And when you ask them to do that, the AI will turn on the little arrows in the sim for you. You don't have to do anything. They'll just put them on the taxiway so you can just follow that, which is kind of nice. And they even make some kind of clever statement like, just follow the yellow brick road, which I appreciate. Okay, so that's what that looks like. We're going to have a nice, easy taxi. Awesome. Can't wait to do that. All right, so let's get that ground frequency on here, which for us, west of runway 19er right is going to be 121.9. And we are not going to come off of that until we are holding short, which will be real quick. 0.9. All right, and let's go ahead and get the tower frequency in there next. So tower from 19er right down here, we can see what's going to be 118.75. Already pretty close. Man, I was hoping there'd be a lot more shaming going on in this, but I probably should have gone the other way.
IFR to Corona.
But this could be a pretty straight shot right out of here. When I left from Denver last time, it was a disaster. I got scolded several times. I wasn't flying the right heading. It was just a mess. I got off the ground channel, and then I got all nervous and anxious about it, and I was screwing everything up. I couldn't even think straight. So just to be ready for it, let's also go ahead and take a look at what the ATIS frequency is going to be for our arrival airport. So we can do the same thing. I'm just pushing on the airport with my thumb. So for Bullhead, it's going to be 119.825. We don't need to hear this ATIS again, so we can go ahead and program that in the second comm frequency here. And I just switched
the departure flighting 275. Radar vectors Ventura 044 radial as filed.
75. Okay, don't. There we go.
Expect 5,000. 10 minutes after departure.
119.825.
Departure frequency 124.7. Squawk 3656.
Overshot it. Okay. So that'll be ready to go. Well, let's just go ahead and make it active. We've already got it muted, so once we're ready to go, we can just unmute that. And the tower is now active here, back at the other airport or ground. Let's just confirm that one more time, see if I can score, get up into the D- range here.
Heading 275, radar vectors.
All right, 121.9er.
Radial and DME.
All right, we're good.
Ventura, as filed.
Sounds like someone's having some problems.
Maintain 4,000, expect 5,000 after 10 minutes. Departure 124.7, squawk 3656.
73156, no DME, it's the Ventura 044 radial, which you filed.
You know what else I really like about the live thing? Because these aren't like pre-recorded like it is with the AI one. Because there's just not as much traffic.
044 radial, Ventura, then it's filed.
I mean, I hate hearing other pilots struggling, but it gives me a little shot in the arm to know that I'm not as awful as I'm imagining I am. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's learning. All right, let's get rid of that little trail. Okay, do we have a little break in the action here so we can get our taxi clearance? Las Vegas ground, Cessna 200 Papa Foxtrot at the FBO, ready to taxi VFR departure to the south. I may not need to say VFR departure to the south. They may already know. hope I said Las Vegas.
200 Papa Foxtrot, Las Vegas ground, runway 19 right, taxi via Hotel Foxtrot.
19 right via Hotel Foxtrot, 0 Papa Foxtrot. All right, we got exactly what we were thinking, which is fantastic. Okay, so now, as if I was taxiing to a longer runway, or a longer taxiway, this is what I would do. I'd pull back up to this one since I can see our little triangle there, and I would draw this out, and I'm going to do it anyway, just so you can see what I would be doing. So I would go Hotel... Well, it's actually going to be Foxtrot Run, but I think they'd probably say it like that anyway, so we're just going to go like this. Oop, that's just moving it. Let's hit that button. Hotel and Foxtrot. As simple as you would think it is, it's not that simple. Because we got lots and lots of taxiways around here. Okay. I'm going to bring this back over to the left side of my screen. Keep a little eye on that. Get our yoke back. Get the rest of our lights on, including our seatbelt light. For Will's sake. Let's get our logo on too, why not? This is the live weather anti-collision lights on, and get the nav / beacon. I turned the wrong one on again. I turned the taxi lights on. Whatever, that's fine. That's right, this is a sim. And this isn't the plane I'm used to. I would take the 172, by the way, guys, but I'm just flying that thing every night for hours and hours and hours on end, and this one is probably 50% faster.
Montgomery ground, Sirius C3
nice.
Sierra Bravos at Coast Air with information, southwest ramp. Information, Mike, ready to taxi for departure.
Parking brake on? We can fix that. One of the other nice things about talking to real people is with the AI, there can be planes coming right at you on the taxiways. With real people, the only other people that should be in here with me
Montgomery ground, runway 28 right, taxi via Hotel.
Are other people that are actually flying.
Golf Hotel Alpha.
So they'll tell you, like, you know, wait for the 172 coming down taxiway, Lima.
Say again before Hotel Alpha.
You're next after them.
Bravo.
Things like that.
Golf.
Which is
Hotel
very
Alpha.
realistic and awesome.
Golf Hotel Alpha to 29er right, 3 Sierra Bravo.
23 Sierra Bravo, no 29 right here. It's runway 28 right. Runway 28 right, taxi via Golf Hotel Alpha.
I feel you, brother.
Right, apologies.
I'm feeling your pain.
3 Sierra Bravo.
I'm feeling your pain. Been there. Been there, my man. I got your back. So this girl is not only working tower and clearance for multiple airports, she's got to jump to ground delivery. Amazing. I don't know how you do it. I would love to take a field trip to just see like what their setup is and what their training is to do this stuff. I mean, that's just crazy. But I guess like anything else in life, if you do it enough, you just get used to it. So here we come on what should be Foxtrot. Yep. So I did buy the airport for Denver, and I understand why now people are doing that. That's a handcrafted airport, and the taxiway signs, at least in my version of the sim, were non-existent. Nothing on the runways, nothing on the side. You can see these have the runway markings, taxiway markings, the little signs on the side there. Everything is great. All right, we're ready. Hopefully she won't give us any other further instructions after we get out of here. And we have bugged that for our heading off to 175 once we get up there. So let's just move this over here. I'm just getting everything set up on my other screen so I can make sure I'm paying attention to what's going on here. And that's set for 175. So let's go ahead and set our altitude for 6,800 so we don't bust that. And we'll go ahead and set our vertical speed too. 6,500. I probably shouldn't be doing this right here on the runway. In real life, you do this before you start taxiing. And we'll set our vertical speed at, let's just go for broke. Let's do 2,000, see if it can hang. I think it probably can. Okay. So I need to have, as soon as I get off with, I can go ahead and switch this now actually. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to get that departure frequency up here. So let's jump back over to this real quick. And our scratch pad. .47. .47. I just made the tower the active. Come on. Why is it not 47? It's not hitting it for some reason. 125.47. It's only going in between it. Why is that happening? Okay, I'm going to try something else here. I'm going to try to use my external hardware. Great. That's not working either. That's going to be a problem. Or a serious problem. There we go. It just came on. Alright. So... it's not doing it. Okay, well... I don't want to mess up everything for everybody flying right now. Well, let's just let them know what's going on, see if they have any advice for us. Las Vegas Tower, Cessna 200, Papa Foxtrot, holding short runway 19er right, ready for departure. And my avionics, for some reason, are having trouble tuning in 125.470 for the departure frequency. It's just going to 475. Do you have an alternate frequency I might be able to use for that?
Papa Foxtrot, completely normal. The third digit after the decimal will always be a 0 or a 5, and I believe it's only a 0 if the second digit's a 0.
Excellent. Very good to know, 0 Papa Foxtrot, and ready to depart runway 19er right. Always learning. All right.
200 Papa Foxtrot, Las Vegas Tower, runway 19er right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 19er right, 0 Papa Foxtrot. This is just great. Every flight is a learning experience. I love this girl. Whenever I get her, I get very excited because she's very, very nice.
Approaching runway 19 right.
Oh, cool. You can actually also hear what ForeFlight is telling
Entered
me.
runway 19 right. 9,700 feet remaining.
How cool is that? All right. It was like $28 to get that thing to mirror it, but I think it's worth it because it's pretty cool. All right, here we go. Oh, we do have some dust. Look at that. Jeez. Takeoff power. And rotate. We're off. Well, I'm hoping this isn't going to be obscuring anything. It looks like the visibility will probably be fine once we're coming in. We're a little bit off our center line of the runway there, aren't we? There we go. Alright, so I'm going to activate the autopilot once we get clear of the runway, and then do the old heading hold. Autopilot, heading, and it should climb us on up there to 6,500. Okay, so far so good. Only one minor little flub. Ignorance on my part, story of my life. Alright, once we get settled and out of the Class Bravo here, I'm going to give you the rest of my feedback about my experiences with the different applications. Both of them definitely serve excellent purposes. My preference is shifting one way heavily at this point. I won't spoil it though. So just to kind of show you what we're looking at over here, let's bring little nav map over to see the other traffic that's flying around. So it looks like we just have this one other plane out here right now. Look at this. Look how far we are from our VY still. This thing can climb. But it's slowing down a little bit, so let's just bring that nose down a couple degrees there. We're not in any rush. Beautiful, beautiful city. So I was thinking about, guys, most of the time at night I am still doing pattern work in that 172, and I just cannot get over. I'm kind of wondering, and we won't know until it's all a done deal, and I've got my PPL, assuming I can ever get it. But how much that learning curve is shallowed, or the learning is accelerated, by having access to something like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, between the air traffic control, I mean, I just don't know how you could ever get the practice in doing this unless you were, you know, in a commercial program and they're just having you fly several hours every single day, which would be a great way to do it. But to get this much
ground, Skyhawk 72156.
to get this much practice with the pattern work and landings and working on the maneuvers, they're actually pretty doggone close to what it's like in the real plane. The only thing you're missing is the physical sensation.
Papa Foxtrot, your radar contact Las Vegas departure, have a safe flight.
Thank you very much, Zero Papa Foxtrot. Okay, she didn't even send me over to departure, but she probably will because I'm on.
73156, runway 26, taxi Foxtrot Alpha.
Okay, so hopefully she'll, if she doesn't switch me to another frequency,
260 at Foxtrot Alpha.
we'll just contact the tower for the place we're coming into once we get a little bit closer. Look at all this dust. I don't think I've seen the dust effect in the sim, not this heavy. That's a lot, but with these winds blowing like this. Okay, so just to not create any problems for them, I'm just going to get totally clear of their airspace, and then we'll finish our climb up to 7,500, so we'll go ahead and put that in just to get it ready. And then once we're clear of the Bravo, we'll be out. So let's just take a look at this real quick, and let's slow her down a little bit. Yep, I can hear you whistling there. Bring those RPMs back just a little bit. By the way, if you didn't already know it, something that was part of the FAA exam, even though I'm not flying a complex aircraft, they said you always keep your manifold pressure levers, or I guess your power levers, below your RPM levers. It's a good way to blow your engine up if you crank up the throttle with low RPM settings. So that was an easy fix, and I have not had any problems doing that, but I never thought about that before. Never had a reason to, because your planes don't blow up in the sim unless you fly with damage effects turns on, which I have done. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. We are about to head into this shelf, which is at 6,000. We're definitely going to bust that, so we'll still be in their airspace. And then over here, we're going to hit 8,000, so let's just kind of yank that over there. Zoink. And then we'll just do fly headings. Once we get to this, we'll shift to heading 1, 2, 3. And we'll be fine at 7,500, so we can finish our climb up through there. This guy should not be a factor, even though, yeah, he's going to be well out of the way. So we'll just...
Zero Papa Foxtrot, Las Vegas, how are you up?
Yes, Zero Papa Foxtrot right here.
Got 20 Papa Foxtrot, switch you to departure, they're looking for you. Contact Las Vegas, approach 125.47.
125.47, Zero Papa Foxtrot. Okay, maybe I missed her saying it, but I don't recall her saying switch to departure, but that takes care of that. Departure Cessna 200 Papa Foxtrot at 6,500. What's funny is it's her that was looking for me.
Papa Foxtrot, Las Vegas departure, radar contact. Be advised you're in violation of the Bravo airspace there. Actually, disregard that, I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
I see it there. Zero Papa Foxtrot, you can cancel altitude restriction, resume on navigation.
Cancel altitude restriction, resume on navigation, Zero Papa Foxtrot. Oh, God, my heart just skipped a beat. I was like, God, I thought I was doing so good. Okay, we're all human. We're all human. Okay, so since he said I can resume on navigation and cancel altitude restriction, we'll go ahead and hit it. Vertical speed, nose up. Just in time. All right, so we're coming up on this heading change. You can see that here. So we're going to go to 1, 2, 3 here very shortly. Let you look at that. Here it comes, 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be off to our left. So we'll go ahead and start working that in. So I wonder if they would give you like a pilot deviation number. I think they do have like an email you got to send to if you have a pilot deviation. And I wonder what happens. Okay, man. All right, I need to get a little hanky to wipe the sweat off my brow. Man, you guys that just like jump into this, you must have just nerves of steel. I don't know. I'm just a basket case. This is just so much for me. All right, so it should be a pretty smooth shot here. The next handoff should probably be to tower for Bullhead, I think. But we need to stay on this frequency until we're there. But let's go ahead and put the tower frequency in for our standby, because that'll be the next person they hand us off to, unless they hand us off to Los Angeles Center or something like that. But we can just change it if they do. All right, so these guys, we'll listen to that ATIS, which might change before we get there, so we'll want to kind of be mindful of that. 123.9er. All right, we'll just leave that right there for now. 123.9er. You know what? I'm just going to wait a little bit, because they might hand us off to someone else one more time. Yeah, why not? Let's just... I can always change it, but I have to change it anyway. 123.9er. I'm still trembling from my thought that I screwed that up. Ay, ay, ay. Love it. I love the thrill. I mean, I'll be thinking about it all night lying in bed. Is that ridiculous? I'm flying in a sim for crying out loud. But, I mean, it matters to me in real life, which is why it's such a big deal. 123.9er, so that's good. And we already got the ATIS on the other one. It's going to flip over at the top of the hour, which is, we're like 12 minutes away from that. All right, I'm going to come this way just a little bit. We're kind of off course from where I want to be. I would load up that flight plan now, but we've messed around with it so much that it's not going to matter to have it into our avionics. Okay, so my thoughts on the different applications that we've been using for air traffic control at this point. I really, really like say intentions just because it helps me get familiar with the flow. It was very, very useful early on. Even if it makes a lot of mistakes, and it makes tons of mistakes, really a lot, but you know, it's again, it's early days for that. I'm sure it's only going to get better from here, but it was nice to get used to, okay, what are you typically doing at a Class Bravo, Class Charlie? If you're getting flight following, what are they doing? Who are they handing you off to? I'd say about 25% of the time, if you're taking a basic flight from a Delta to a Delta, maybe into a Charlie, it's pretty much spot on. But the rest of the time, it's off. And the problem with that is you'll get things like what I call an aerial ground loop, where it will give you instructions and you'll reply, affirming the instructions, and then it'll just keep giving them to you over and over again. And you can hear other pilots just saying, no, that's not what I asked for, and it doesn't understand that, so it can't like self-correct most of the time. Every now and then it'll self-correct. Or if I just say, can you repeat that squawk code, it'll repeat the entire clearance thing again. So they got some kinks to hammer out with that for sure still, but it was invaluable. I wouldn't have done it with live people and other pilots flying around. It would have messed up the controllers, and it did. When I was doing that, it was just messing everybody up. It was messing up other pilots. It was humiliating. So it really helped to use that to get used to the flow. Plus, everything east, basically, of the Mississippi, Pilot Edge doesn't go over there. So it was nice to just fly around my home airport and stuff, practice just talking on the radio as I'm coming into the different areas, even if I'm not getting the correct responses. That was really, really good. But now that I'm getting more comfortable with talking to real humans, it is extremely lifelike. As you've already heard, there's going to be some mistakes. They got a lot going on, but they correct the mistakes, and it's much, much more lifelike. And they've also got this rating program that I'm going to start doing here pretty soon. Well, first you get CAT ratings, which are for all your VFR ratings, and I think there's like maybe 9 up to 11. You start with an untowered to an untowered, then you go to an untowered to a Class Delta. They got one where you fly the pattern, making all your radio calls for that. And then they give you like little, badges or something when you do it, which I think is pretty cool. So I think we're gonna do all that stuff, and I'll post some of those, the more challenging ones, here on the channel, which I think will be pretty cool. Say intentions, I don't remember the cost. I know for Pilot Edge, I bought the full package, which is like $340, maybe $350 for the year. So if you're not into the live ATC thing and you're not training to be a real pilot, I don't know if you'd want to cough up the funds for that. For me, totally, totally worth it. I did check out VATSIM, by the way, which is the other one out there that's free. And here's where I'm struggling with that as a VFR pilot. You can look on their little radar thing that shows you who's flying, where they're flying to. Virtually everyone that I saw all across the U.S. is flying airliners, so I think it's definitely more based on IFR flying. As I already mentioned, you have to take a pretty comprehensive course, which, incredibly, after just passing the FAA exam with a 100%, I got an 83 on the course. You need an 80 to pass it. So I was like, well, why was that so incredibly hard? But there is a barrier to entry for that. You got to get through the course. And then even to take a VFR flight, you have to file a flight plan every time, which is kind of cumbersome, I think. So for now, if I start doing IFR stuff, I'm going to have to be filing flight plans in real life every time anyway. I'd probably shift over to that, but for now, I think for VFR, it's going to be hard to beat Pilot Edge. And these guys have a cool Discord server I hopped on with all kinds of tips. They got these workshops, these seminars that are like hours long. I thought they were just fantastic. Really, really good. So they had all the resources there and didn't make you take a test to get involved with it. But it's cool. Really, really cool. And they have 2 main areas, so you don't have to pay the $350 if you just want to get basically everything, but so it goes the smaller, more compact area that you'd have to use to get your category ratings goes from LA basically to Vegas as part of it, down to San Diego. Lots and lots of airports in there, lots of traffic because everyone's flying in there trying to get their ratings. And that one is half the price. And then if you want to get basically all the rest of the western United States, which also has plenty of Bravos, Charlies, and Deltas, then you could just get the other one if you wanted to, but they don't have the category ratings over there. But boys, there's some beautiful places to fly over, so I just got both of them. What the heck? I've already spent this much on this computer and this sim pit. Why not? It's another 300 bucks. But it's awesome. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'll share a little funny story with you guys. There's a fellow that does all of their seminars. Well, one of the guys that does all their seminars who talks about how to read VFR charts, how to set up flight plans, even how to do basically VFR navigation through Dead Reckoning and Pilot Edge. Really, really great. And they're free, by the way. You can go on Pilot Edge and watch those, which is awesome. So he also did a video in Pilot Workshops called VFR Mastery or something like that. And the guy is obviously a very good pilot. I know he flies professionally. I think he has a Lance Air. But he was going to take several hops around. I've only watched the first few videos now. He's taking several hops around. It looks like he's starting in the northeast. But before he could do that, he's going to be flying a 172. Let me just get our altitude checked here. So we're going to come down to 6,600. So let's come down to 1,800 and just go ahead and start our descent. Before I lose track of that, next thing you know, we're 10 miles over the airport. I haven't gotten an altimeter update, so I'll just go ahead and manually check it in.
One to do much departure, Sky 7215, 6 passing 2,500.
Pretty close.
4,000, design heading 275.
And let's get this vertical speed, nose down a bit. One of the nice things about Little Nav Map, by the way, is if you look down here at the bottom, it will show you your aircraft trajectory, which will point us to the airport once I know that we have... And I just went the wrong direction with that.
Just 0116 from departure, ready to contact, maintain 5,000.
And we're going to slow it down a bit.
Maintain 5,000.
And I'll tell you the rest of my story here in just a minute. All right, we'll just keep an eye on that altitude as we're going through this. So he starts off in a sim. I think it was X-Plane that he's using, practicing in a 172, which I'm sure he started his training in, but he hadn't been in one in a while. And this guy I already held in very high esteem because I just watched all of his workshops. I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. But seeing him get back in that 172 and how uncomfortable he was with a flight instructor, CFI, sitting right next to him, trying to get familiar again with a 172 and struggling with it, I thought it was just great. Just absolutely great to see even a guy with that much experience just be like, all right, we all have to learn things. Sometimes we have to go back and learn things. It was inspiring, again, because the problem with YouTube is everyone's an expert at everything, which just paints this false picture of reality that always makes you feel like you're completely incompetent. But that's why we're posting videos like this. I'm hoping I'll get some sort of major catastrophe screw-up on the way in just so I can not eat my own words and pull this thing off flawlessly. We'll see if we get lucky enough for that to happen. All right, I can tell by our little trajectory thing.
This is 119.825.
That is so handy that does it. I mean, I can hear it, but not when I'm wearing my headphones because I'm simming. That's cool. I might just leave that thing open all the time. All right, so let's go ahead and just listen to that ATC, see if we can hear it yet, because we're right at the point where it's going to shift over, though. I'm going to wait a few more minutes. And I'm also going to put some range rings on here just in case they forget to tell us to contact the tower. All right, so we're 20 miles out right now. Eesh. Let's listen to it.
Laughlin Bullhead International Airport, Aegis Information Quebec, 0135 Zulu, wind 180 at 11, gust 19, visibility 10, sky conditions, clear, temperature 43, dew point -7, altimeter 2971, arriving and departing runway 16, visual approach continuous, read back all runway assignments and hold short.
2907, oh, I'm changing the comm now. 2971. Okay. All right, we're going to nose her up a little bit here. Or we're going to get too low too fast. So when we are... I'm sure they're going to give me the handoff. If not, by the time we get to right about here, I'll cancel flight following. Or just ask if I can switch the frequency for the tower. Las Vegas departure, request frequency change over to Bullhead Tower. Cessna 200 Papa Foxtrot. Should have said that on the front end. I'm not hearing anything. this in here. Las Vegas departure, Cessna 200, Papa Foxtrot, cancel flight following. Typically, I think you'd ask for a request. When they respond, you say, cancel flight following, please. Alright, well, I'm not really sure what to do now. Unless that was them trying to contact me, but it was so scratchy I couldn't hear anything. Las Vegas departure, Cessna 200, Papa Foxtrot, radio check. Well, let me just check to make sure I didn't get disconnected from... Nope, it says I'm connected. Alright, well, we need to contact the tower, so we're just going to go ahead and do it. Bullhead Tower, Cessna 200, Papa Foxtrot, 12 miles to the north with Quebec, inbound, full stop, altitude currently 4,100.
230 Bravo, contact departure, have a safe flight.
For departure, 230 Bravo, thank you.
Air 200 Papa Foxtrot, Bullhead Tower, make straight in runway 16, runway 16, clear to land, 18011, gust 19er.
Straight in, runway 16, clear to land, 0 Papa Foxtrot. Okay. So now we're going to do a heading change to... I can't tell what that is. 166. And let's see how we're going to be lined up for that. There it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the ground frequency in, which is going to be 118.25 on our standby. I don't know what happened there with departure, but we got it taken care of. I'm assuming I screwed something up. That's usually what happened.
Riverside ground, number 726, my mic at the east ramp with information kilo request on that Bravo. Low
So
approach,
let's go ahead and just hold the altitude here, and then we'll just hand fly around once we get a little bit closer. I don't want to get too low.
726, my mic.
All right. Well, this has been a pretty successful flight so far. I only almost got yelled at one time.
6 Mike, runway 27, taxi via Alpha Charlie.
So you know what? Let's go ahead and get this back up here and get our little runways up so we'll know where we are once we come off on the taxiway there.
Taxi via Alpha Charlie, request practice RNAV.
Okay.
Bravo, low approach in Corona.
All right.
726 Mike, ground's not going to be able to help you with that. That's a request you're going to want to call SoCal once you're airborne.
So let's disengage the autopilot.
Gotcha, thank you. Taxi via Alpha Charlie.
Turn it down a little bit. Everything's looking good. So yeah, back to what I was saying originally. Sorry I've been jumping around so much. I'm sure you can understand why. With the practices on the approaches, I'm sure you'll be hearing from Brian again, joining me in the plane as we work on some stuff. The issue that I'm having, and it's funny because I don't know how many times I've landed just fine in the sim. Well, most of my landings after going back and watching a lot of my videos were not executed properly. Most of the time I was doing straight in approaches. The challenge, especially in high wing planes, is getting that base turn right from downwind or left. It's even harder making a right base because you got to look over Will's big fat head to see what's going on over there. But that is tough for me. So I'm working on using my HSI and just watching the bugs spin around. All right, let's cut that throttle way back. Get some flaps out. Feel like we're a little bit high here. So I think once I get the hang of that a little bit more, I'll show you kind of what I'm doing to work on that. I feel like it's a level boss. I grew up as a gamer. And for me, it's like I am not going to be conquered by not getting good landings. And it lands pretty hard, just like it does for most of my landings in the plane. All right, the Pappies say we're high, so that's cool. We'll come down some. We just got some terrain here that's making it feel not so high. I'm just trimming up some, trimming up. And we got pretty much a straight up headwind, so that's fantastic. One notch of flaps. And I think the approach speed is around 100 on this. Trim up some more. Trim up a little bit more. Final launch of flaps. Fight the balloon. Watch that airspeed. Yeah, that terrain's right there, isn't it? Ooh, she's really wanting to balloon. I am really liking this plane. I might fly this more on this channel. It's nice. I tried getting the 310R loaded up last night because it's one of my favorite planes in the sim, but I can't get the autopilot and a lot of the avionics to work right, which is too bad because I love that thing. Hold on, let me get this thing down. Boy, you really got to skirt that mountain if you're coming in on the right glide slope. We'll just cut the power because we have made the runway at this point. We must have a little bit of a crosswind. And disappear the ending point. And roll her out. And let her fly. Boy, maybe I was way above the stalling speed on this thing. Are we going to make it the other end of the airport? There we go. Golly. Okay, so we can see over on the left where we are for the taxiways. Can we hit this one? I bet we can. And then we'll switch to ground if she doesn't tell us to. If not, we'll ask her if she wants us to. Alright guys, so that's what it's like. We will try. I'm not quite ready for it yet, but if you go out to... Well, I'll just show you at the end what I want to try for our next upload when we do this. I should probably just have us taxi straight ahead, which will be great, because that's general aviation right there. Okay, over to ground. Let me ask her if she wants us to go to ground. Bullhead Tower, Cessna 200, Papa Foxtrot, holding at Alpha 3, heading over to the hangars. You want me to switch to ground, or you want to get me over there?
Air 0 Papa Foxtrot, get this frequency, taxi around the Alpha. Have a great night.
Thank you very much, 0 Papa Foxtrot. Love it. Love it, love it. Maybe I'll get to meet her someday. Her and Av Angel. I'm a married man, by the way, with my two dream aviation girls. It's funny because if you fly around enough, you kind of start to feel like you get to know them a little bit. Not Av Angel, but I mean, you're having a real conversation. Pretty cool. Now let's get those flaps up. And we'll just park right there. Okay, before we check out, I'll show you what I'd like to try to fly. And just like the last video, guys, I got a big, long string of comments from someone that was so useful. It does not bother me at all. I want to learn. I want to get to know. I want as much input as I can get from as many people as possible. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You're not going to offend me as long as you're not rude about it, in which case it won't even show up on the comments. But let me know. What can I do better? What are you doing differently? What could be more efficient? Let me disconnect just so that's not screaming in our ear.
Pilot Edge disconnected.
Let me know. I'm learning from you guys as we go along. I've got a great CFI who you guys will get to hear more from, but the more inputs we can get from the more people, for me anyway, the better. So if you're one of those that likes to be a teacher and a helper, let her rip. Okay, so here's what I want to try flying. So look at this. So here's LAX. In most of these airports, we got Charlies, Deltas all over the place. Charlie, 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 Bravo, covering all this stuff. Delta, Delta... So what I don't really know yet, and I'm kind of afraid to find out, I might try it on Say Intentions first just to see what they tell me to do. My understanding is if you're leaving from a Delta, you start with the tower at the Delta, but we're obviously directly underneath the, let's see where that shelf starts. So that starts at 5,000. All right, so they're giving it some pretty good clearance there. You could get up to 5,000 in this area here before you would pierce the Class Bravo. But I'm kind of wondering, like, what if we go low, but not so low that we're in the Delta here? This probably goes up to 2,500 feet if you watch our last video. Okay, 2,600, so they're probably at 100 feet elevation there. No, 4 feet. They must have rounded up. Like, what if we left from this Charlie and just cruised at, like, 3,000 through here? That would actually get us through most of that Bravo, really. But I'd just like to hear who they're passing us off to for the flight following for something like that. And then coming to LAX. So I'll probably do a trial run with that. And then we'll see how it is in real life. That's next level. That's definitely level boss right there. If I can pull that off, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about anything. The only other one that's pretty cool to do, which I did do already with Say Intentions, although it was kind of messy once I did it, down here in my good old home state of Florida, take a trip from KMCO over to Tampa. We got a Bravo to a Bravo, and they're right next to each other with a big, huge open gap in the middle. So that gives you... The thing I like about this is you got about, I don't know, 40 miles here to kind of get yourself situated, instead of just jumping from frequency to frequency to frequency to frequency. So we might do that one too. Oh, we can't with Pilot Edge. Doggone it. because they're not on the East Coast. Well, maybe I'll man up and try to do it with VATSIM. I'll let you guys know how that goes. All right, that's it for this one, guys. Again, I want to hear from you. Let me know the right way to do it if I'm not doing it right. And if you think I'm doing okay, I always use shots in the arm to keep me going and motivated. It helps a lot. But I can't wait to see you all again in the skies. Until next time, later.